How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. Today I'm going to talk about something a little bit more serious, which is suicide rates with famous people. With the news coming out that various celebrities has committed suicide, one of the first things I think about is the media coverage covering it causing us to think that it happens more often or not? So this led me to do a little bit of research, just Googling it around. I find that, well, everyone can do the Googling, of course, but putting it all together like this, it might be helpful for you guys to just, think about what the results I got from, my Google searches. The way I do searches is I have a particular thing I want to know. I don't want to know everything about it. I don't want to read every little detail about it, like down to the percentages, something very, very exact. I just want to know, in an order of magnitude, how much more likely is it for a celebrity or a famous person to commit suicide compared to a regular person who is not all that famous? Is the difference in suicide rate, tenfold? Twice as much, 100 times as much, or 1,000 times as much? Before looking into it, I have no idea. I just thought the rate could be exactly the same as normal people, but somehow we have this imagery that it's inflated a lot more because when someone famous, commits suicide, everybody in the world knows about it. So I've linked various things down in the video description on the articles I came across, which led me to, have the answer that I want. One of them is, does fame make you more suicidal? The second one is a Japanese study of media coverage of suicide rates of normal people after they report on famous people. Now, one of the first things I want to know is the benchmark of how many people actually die per certain number of people based on the country, or it could be just in the general. What is the norm here? What's the suicide rate? What's the normal? Well, it's not normal or anything, but what is the going suicide rate currently? So when you look it up by country, they go by how many people per 100,000. So it ranges from 1 to about 20 and all the way up to about 30 people per 100,000. This is per year, and in the United States, it used to be 10 people per 100,000 every single year, all the way back in 1999. So 1% would be 1,000 people, 0.1% would be 100 people in 100,000, 0.01% will be 10 people in 100,000, that is the rate. 0.01% is the amount of suicides in a population in the United States every single year. So when you multiply this by the number of people in the country, it becomes a pretty big number. So it becomes a situation where, you have a significant number of people that is committing suicide. The alarming thing here is that suicide rates has increased from 10 to 13. So this is a 30% increase. So it went from 0.01% to 0.013%. So, more people are committing suicide these days. Are you wondering, is the economy doing bad? Are people more stressed out or whatnot? Okay, now we have a benchmark of the number of people that are committing suicide, normal amongst normal people, which is, this is not normal, but this is the current rate of suicides. And then you look at the celebrities, and I look up some reports on this thing, and it quotes about 3% in one study and 5% in another. So, okay, whatever. I just want an order of magnitude. 3% it is. 3% is a lot of people. So let's just take 3%. And so if you have 100 celebrities, every single year, 3 of them is going to take their own lives every single year. This is a lot. This is crazy. Because after like 30 years or something, they're all gonna be dead because they're all gonna have committed suicide. It turns out people with bipolar disorders have a higher tendency to want to become famous, and so more people that are famous have bipolar disorders. Hence, bipolar disorders are overrepresented in famous people for some reason or another. So in the beginning, I quoted the Japanese study of where they looked at the number of suicides in that country after they report on some suicide. So the Japanese study of suicide was not something I was looking for, but I came across it anyway, and I thought I'd share it. This study showed that after the media reports on celebrity that killed themselves, the suicide rate amongst regular people, non-celebrities, increased during a 10-day period afterwards. It increased about 5 to 15%. Peaking around the 3rd day after that. So this in itself is very alarming because, the reporters, they're trying to report on the news here, but in reporting it, they're contributing to an increase in deaths. So I wonder if the reporters know about this, because if they know about this, then maybe, they don't want to, make it as big as it is, I guess. And me making a video about this, I also have, a little doubts about this, because I certainly do not want to contribute to more suicides. In turn, however, when the media has a negative view on the suicide rate actually goes down. So me not glorifying it or something and not just reporting on it, just saying, there are helplines out there. I'm not too versed on this area myself, but casting a negative view on suicide would actually improve the suicide rate. Like, less people would actually commit suicide, given that coverage of negativity towards suicides. So this is alarming, because being on YouTube, it's kind of being less than famous. I personally wonder, what is it that caused a famous person to do such a thing? Because a lot of times, life is precious, and I can only wonder what happens. Because I mean, if you're under depression, if you have bipolar disease, then I guess a lot of different things can go on in your head. You might feel like life is hopeless, there's nothing to live for. So I wonder if being a celebrity sort of isolates you from other people, because at some point when you're like so famous, it's gonna be hard to meet other people, like normal people. If you're like super duper famous, you're like on the A-list, B-list, or even, when you walk out the door, like everybody's gonna treat you differently. They already know you. It probably is gonna be really difficult to connect with another person, because the other person's gonna be starstruck. You cannot, just have a normal conversation. They're just, being a fan. I thought covering this would be a good idea, just mainly to figure out how many times more likely a celebrity is gonna commit suicide compared to a normal person. So we know in the United States is 0.01%. Celebrities, the rate of suicide is about 3 to 5%. So this is about a 300 to 500 fold increase of suicides. This is a lot. I don't know what to say about this. It's certainly a lot higher than I would guess. I would have guessed, I don't know what I would have guessed. I would have guessed a little bit more, quite a bit more, but not as much as 300 times as much. I know this is a touchy subject and it's more sensational because it's more like current event stuff. I don't plan to cover this kind of stuff all the time, but I figure it's an interesting topic and people should know about this, and, possibly, maybe something good can come out of it, knowing that celebrities have such a burden, I guess. So thanks for watching this video. If you're interested in supporting this channel, I have the t-shirt sale down below. I have the Audible link down below where you can get a free audiobook, Patreon over here. And don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon next to that subscribe button so that you get a new notification whenever I upload a brand new video. Thanks for watching.